Um, Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Justin Cappuccino, and we're doing our live stream tonight, and we will be talking about what are the rumors, the updates that we've been hearing about the Binibining Pilipinas 2023 pageant. So, before we begin, can I ask everyone to please leave a thumbs up, a like on our live stream today, kasi it would help, the algorithm to make our live stream even more seen by a lot of people. Ayan. So let's see who's here. Daniel P. Yuzon is already here. Sabi niya, good evening, Sir Jason. Hello, good evening, Daniel. Um, you'll um, you'll be excited with what you're going to hear about with what we were able to gather for Binibining Pilipinas this year. There will be three main focuses of the pageant based on what I've heard from insider rumors, from insider people, and from certain official communications from the Binibining Pilipinas and Araneta City organization themselves. So, if pagbibitak-bitakin natin, we're going to narrow down what are the things that we are more likely to look at, see in Binibining Pilipinas this year, is that there are three things that they are going to focus on. One is there will be a highlight, a strong focus on advocacy and social relevance for not only for the Binibining Pilipinas candidates themselves, but for the entire organization as a whole. And they will be opening up. They will be allowing the candidates for this year to experience, the different local groups, different charity groups and organizations in order for the candidates to broaden their horizon. And the second thing that they're going to be focusing on is tied up to the advocacy as well, because what the Binibining Pilipinas organization wants to do this year is to focus on candidate experience. When I say candidate experience, they want to make sure that the candidates this year would have a positive experience, would have a great, experience with the pageant, and see the pageant not as a competition alone, but also as an experience in order for them to blossom. So, pagtutuunan natin ng pansin yan later, because I think there are areas na pwedeng mag-improve on that area, plus some things that we've been hearing with regards to that that focus ng Binibining Pilipinas this year. And the third focus is that they are going to strengthen their bonds with local na mga Filipino brands, and focus on discovering new talents. So medyo magkakaroon tayo ng pagbabago with Binibining Pilipinas, and a lot of this is going to be laid out soon, or even later in the competition, because most of their official public appearances will begin at around the month of March. So there. Sige, bago natin pag-usapan isa-isa yung mga three focuses na yon, gusto ko munang batiin yung mga nandito. Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us again dito sa ating live stream. I know it's a little bit different from the usual na Sunday na nakasanayan natin. So this is something that I'm experimenting on different times, different dates where we can do our live stream. So if in case na mas marami sa inyo yung nag-e-engage, mas marami sa inyo yung join during a Saturday na live stream, we might be thinking of making our live stream more mainstay on Saturdays. Okay, so let's see who's present. Daniel P. Yuzon is here. Becky Lo Blanco, hello, good evening. Sabi ni Becky Lo, magandang gabi po. Johan is present. Hello, Johan. Lemol 23.5 is here. Sabi niya, Hello, Sir Jason. Spill the tea. What are the big things happening this year? I will try as much as possible to say what are the things that I know without getting into trouble, Lemuel. May mga bagay ka din kasi na pinag-uusapan sa akin na if I'm going to splook, make sure to make it splook in such a way that it does not spoil the fun for the candidates or for the fans later on. I think there will be a lot of things to expect from na the BPCI is keeping tight-lipped on. So there. Nasaan na tayo? Johnny B is here. Hello. Binibini watching from Novaliches. Ben Hernandez is also as always here. Binibini, BBP is always practical. It's no surprise. It's very thoughtful and nice of BPCI that they care about the girls' experiences. Yes, and this is one of the things that i-highlight natin because earlier today, I posted a quote that I found on, I think it's on Instagram. Somebody posted, a long time ago na don't chase, get chosen. So I will be explaining kung bakit yan yung highlight ng pag-uusapan natin ngayon because I think it not only applies to pageantry, but it also perfectly applies with what Binibining Pilipinas, what are their outlook dito sa nangyayaring franchise war ngayon, as well as it is also applicable not only sa mundo ng pageantry but also in our personal lives. So there, sandali lang, medyo hindi ko alam kung anong nangyayari sa ating camera ngayon. I think it looks a little bit grainy. What do you think of the video? Kasi I'm using the front camera of my phone to do the live stream sa ngayon. So I'm not sure if the quality is what I would expect. Okay, anyway, Lemuel 235 again is saying, I've noticed now, even before the big activities are about to happen, the candidates are already doing much activities in Araneta City. Yes, and nakakatawa tignan kasi they're not very outspoken, but alam mong gumagalaw sila. They're not very loud on social media, but you see the progress going on. And I think I like that because you don't have to be loud. You only have to do something that is relevant, I think. So I will try as much as possible to touch up on that a little bit later. Okay. Becky Lo Blanco, nice cap, of course, Binibining Pilipinas. Yan, and actually this one, I got it during the Binibining Pilipinas finals. I was actually wanting to buy it online. Kaya lang, I'm not sure if the cap would fit my head because my head has a very large circumference. Kita nyo naman, diba? And then, I also was looking if meron silang mga sizing. But during the Binibining Pilipinas finals last... was it Binibining? Yeah, tama. It's during the Binibining Pilipinas finals. I bought this cap sa Araneta mismo kasi the good thing is I was able to fit it during kasi importante kasi sa akin na mai-fit ko kasi there are some caps na are made na either kulang sa skull yung cap dito or kulang sa girth on this side. Tapos ang maganda pa sa kanya, meron siyang Binibining Pilipinas na nakalagay dito sa gilid. Plus yung metal hardware here also features the Binibining Pilipinas crown logo. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I hope you can kasi ayan. It's kinda nice there. So anyway, balik muna tayo sa mga comments. Ben Hernandez, hi Sir J, sabi niya, hello din Ben, I hope you're enjoying our live stream. Maya-maya, let me just go through the comments and then I'll go right directly into the meat and bones of our live stream discussions for this evening. Michelle Rai, hi sir, guys, like niyo tong live ni Sir Jason. Thank you for the endorsement, Michelle. Phileo Miss is saying, good evening, watching from Lucena City. Hello, good evening, Jaan. I hope everyone's safe and sound and enjoying. D Lampa, hi Sir Jason, first time to comment. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much for that. And welcome as well. I hope that in the future you'll be more, engaging and you comment more in our live streams. Mark Sale, 23, sale. New titles. That I cannot guarantee yet kasi may mga ugong-ugong na yung some of the titles that's supposed to be like moving from one franchise to another is wala pang nagkakapirmahan, may mga issues pa on um, the fees, and hindi alam kung matutuloy o hindi matutuloy because of new rules that was set in place. So floating, marami pa ang pwedeng mangyari based on the rumors that I've heard so far. Ayun. Will Garcia, pa-shoutout po, Sir Jason, from Los Baños, Laguna, kayo ni Tita Lavinia, ang main source ko on Pinoy Pageantry. Hello, Will. Good evening sa mga taga Los Baños. Kumusta kayong lahat? I hope that you're enjoying our live stream this evening. There. I think we're don't, yeah, sabi ni Ben, I like that quote of yours, don't chase, get chosen. That is actually the reason why, I really want, I posted that on my Instagram account and on my Facebook account in Sashes&Scripts today, because I think that quote is really a very powerful na message. It's a powerful message simply because it tells you to set your priorities straight. And when you set your priorities straight, you start, focusing on the things that add value, the things that add, add much to your worth as a person, as an organization, and focus your energies in building that up, in creating, creating value not only for yourself but also for the people who follow you, the people, who you interact with on a daily basis. Because when you start focusing on the things that is right for you, the things that would add more value, the things that would help people, solve their problems, solve be a solution to things that are plaguing, your community or your immediate circle of friends, you suddenly see yourself in a different light. Because as I've said dun sa na-post ko na what do you call this, na quote doon sa on my social media, especially yung last na part, when you stop chasing the wrong people, the wrong things, for the wrong reasons, the right people, the right opportunities, the right things find you. And I think that's the reason why that is such a very powerful na quote, not only for me but also for Binibining Pilipinas. Because instead of chasing franchises, instead of throwing their hat, throwing their names into the hat, throwing their energies into franchise chasing, they instead chose to focus their energies on the things that matter, the things that would make a difference, and that is, focusing on social relevance, focusing on candidate experience, and focusing on fostering relationships and building partnerships with Filipino brands that bring a premium to the pageant. And I think when you start focusing on charity, and I think for those who have been able to read yung latest na blog post ko on the Binibining Pilipinas and their Red Cross na activity, you would see at the end of the official communications from the Binibining Pilipinas PR team. That entire blog post is actually a write up from their PR na write up that they provided pageant media. And let me read to you yung full na statement doon sa end of that blog post, at the end of that PR statement. It says there, for 2023, the BPCI partners with more charitable organizations and institutions to engage candidates in different advocacy work. When you start focusing your energies to social causes, when you start focusing your energies into charitable works, into social advocacies, into local groups, and promote these local groups that help society with social causes, you start moving from a mere pageant into something that is relevant in society. And this is the exact same vein why Miss Earth is so much relevant up until this point, because it not only addresses a need in society for us to focus on eco-friendly practices or sustainable practices, but it also allows us to be part of something that is bigger than ourselves. And that is exactly what the Binibining Pilipinas. Okay, sorry about that. We have, are we back? There, I think we're back. So anyway, apologies for that. So anyway, apologies for that. I'm not sure what's going on with the internet, but earlier when I did a test run with the internet speed, it was doing fine. So anyway, as I was saying, if the Binibining Pilipinas is starting to focus more on advocacy, then they start to become more of a pageant that is similar to the Miss France, the Miss South Africa na pageant, wherein they are becoming more involved with their, with their audiences in terms of what are the things that they can do for society, and they are moving from just mere pageant that is focused on entertainment, but they are also making sure that they do their part in society. And I think that's a very good a very good move for Binibining Pilipinas, because this is something that the Miss Universe organization has been trying to do, and has been very much successful on, in terms of the way that they select their winners. You see that during the IMG era up until to this point, a lot of the girls who wins Miss Universe are girls who are very socially active. And I think that's not going to be a fry in the pan na trend. I think that this is going to be what about long term. So for those that advocacy is not something that you have to understand, that advocacy allows these girls, allows pageants to be relevant in an ever-changing society, in a society that no longer views pageantry as high as it was in the 1950s or in the 1970s and 80s. Pageantry, moving on to more relevant social causes, allows them to become more, accessible to the larger masses of crowd, where people are now looking at pageants as a barometer of, what pageant girls can do, or that is larger than themselves. That is why nowadays ang mga tao, kapag tumitingin sa mga resume ng mga pageant girls, they only not are looking for ano yung mga achievements niya on her personal successes, whether it's purchasing and building a house at a very young age, providing for her family, for a living, or achieving double master's degree on fields that are male dominated in society. Those are just one of the things that tinitingnan ng mga pageant fans and pageant organizations ngayon, aside from the fact that they are now looking for girls who are more involved with their society. And we have to thank Catriona Gray for that, with her very immersive na involvement with young focus. We saw that pageants can be a platform for bigger things. It can be it can be a platform where women can make pageantry relevant. And I think with Binibining Pilipinas, focusing on that, focusing on social advocacies allows them to be, one, long-term viable dahil ang mga tao, titignan nila na ngayon ang Binibining Pilipinas, hindi lang pageant institution, but rather an institution that helps society. Second is that it allows relevance for Binibining Pilipinas as a charitable institution. So ngayon, mas lalong napapanindigan ng Binibining Pilipinas yung pagiging charity, yung charity incorporated doon sa pangalan nila as a organization. And I think that is a very smart move because moving forward, people are going to be more kind at looking at Binibining Pilipinas because they know that it is not just lip service yung kanilang involvement sa mga charities. Another thing that we need to take into consideration, especially with the past na activity nila with the Philippine Red Cross, is that during the pandemic, nagkaroon ng halt on social gathering, and this includes yung mga blood donation drives because they are very careful not to spread the virus because of the pandemic. And that allowed, depletion of yung mga stocks natin ng blood in the blood bank. I remember when my mom was doing her chemotherapy, after niya mag-chemo for mag-chemo session, bumababa yung not only yung white blood cells niya, even yung hemoglobin count bumababa, and she needs blood on a regular basis because being a type O, yung kanyang universal na blood type is very picky na hindi pwedeng mag-donate ang O ang hindi O sa kanya. That is the thing about about the blood type O. The blood type O is the universal donor. But the thing about that is that hindi siya universal receiver. Meaning that kung type O ka, ang blood na pwede lang isalin sa'yo is type O. And that is the problem with my mom during that time, during nung buhay pa siya, when she was having her chemotherapy, because after niya ma-chemotherapy, bumababa yung kanyang blood count, yung kanyang white blood cells. So kinakailangan siyang salinan ng dugo. Unfortunately, because of my diabetes and my heart condition, I cannot donate to her ng blood ko without putting myself at risk as well. And unfortunately, sa aming magkakapatid, I'm the only one who is a type O. Lahat ng mga kapatid ko got the A or the AB from the paternal side of my family. And this is a very important na activity for Binibining Pilipinas because at this point in time, yung levels of stocks of blood, yung mga nakaimbak na dugo sa mga blood banks natin is not enough for the need ng bawat nangangailangan na pasyente. And I am very very much impressed with the Binibining Pilipinas girls na nag-donate ng dugo, and I am very much appreciative of the Binibining Pilipinas organizations and the candidates themselves, that they would put themselves they would put they would put kumbaga parang they would put themselves out there in order to help, and hindi lang lip service yung kanilang advocacy. I see that nakikita mo talaga sila na nakahiga sa stretcher, sinasalina ng dugo, binibigyan ng cookie after nilang mag-donate ng blood because it helps with the what do you call this, with the uh, production of and the loss of energy. So it is really something impressive, and based on what I've heard so far with, with the insiders sa mga sa Binibining Pilipinas, is that this is just one of the things that they're going to do for the advocacy side. There will be possible partnerships with, animal welfare na mga groups, LGBTQ na mga organizations in the future. And I think this is a very good na move for the organization, because pinangangatawan na nila yung pagiging charitable institution nila, and that is something that you don't necessarily get from a lot of pageant organizations, especially at this atmosphere, especially with this, with this situation wherein a lot of pageant organizations are behaving like a business. And I understand that. I really understand that, because as a business, they need to survive. They need to make sure that, they are fiscally afloat for the next 2, 3, or 5 years. I understand that they need to participate with this bidding war in order for them to increase revenues. I understand that they need to get as much sponsorship, to get as much franchises, so that mas maengganyo yung mga girls na sumali sa kanila, mas maengganyo yung mga sponsors na tumulong sa kanila on the financial level. And I think that is, that is perfectly normal. However, with Binibining Pilipinas having a strong backbone on the financials, with the Araneta group of companies, them focusing on the advocacies on socially relevant causes sets them apart from a lot of national pageants who are barely surviving, barely, staying afloat financially. And then, dadagdagan pa nito no second part of their focus for this year, which is, focusing on the experience of the candidates. Nung narinig ko that the aim of Binibining Pilipinas is to make sure that their, attention is paid on the candidates rather than on bidding war, I think they are aligning their energies on the right path. Because instead of participating with all of this messy na bidding war, they are able to focus on the things that truly matters, and that is the experience of the girls. I remember that Madam Stella Marquez Araneta, one of the very few times na I met her, back when I was covering Miss Universe in the 2010s. Ang parati niyang tinatanong sa akin, and sa mga media, whether it's in Las Vegas, whether it's in Doral, was that, how's our girl? How is she? Does she seem, happy? Does she seem like she can compete and be at par with the rest of the girls in the competition? It's always about the girl. It's always about our representative. And that is something that strikes me the most, because instead of her hugging the limelight, like unlike other national directors do in Miss Universe, she turns around the energy to focus on the Filipina bet. And that strikes me the most, kasi lumalabas yung pagkananay ni Madam Stella. And it is very much heartwarming that you have a national director who acts and appears motherly, because you need someone of that kind of level of support, someone who has been there, someone who has already competed in Miss Universe, someone who already competed in Miss International and won Miss International. So naiintindihan niya yung pressure, naiintindihan niya yung level of kaba, the level of anxiety of the candidate. And now that she is, now that she's on the older side, and hindi na siya as, as hands-on as before, nami-miss ng mga pageant media na katulad ko yung haplos ng isang SMA that you see regularly in, in Binibining Pilipinas activities, because of that level of motherly care that she extend not only to the winners but also to the candidates themselves. That is why I am very much, I am very much happy when I've heard that this year, it's the candidate experience that's going to be placed at the forefront, together with the focus on, social work and charity work, and all of these socially relevant na mga causes, because it allows us to see the human side of the candidates, when they you know they donate blood, when they participate in alleviating yung mga karamdaman ng mga wounded soldiers. And a lot of these makes them more human to us, and thus makes them more relatable. And aside from that, if you haven't noticed as well, a lot of the Binibining Pilipinas queens, the reigning ones, kapag may mga events sa Araneta Coliseum, whether it's the One Republic na concert, or it's another concert by Neo or some other celebrity, they are always there. And they are, that is one of the perks of being a Binibining Pilipinas, because they allow you to experience a lot of these, events, to broaden your horizon, be, you know, um, to be able to experience, what life has to offer, the good things in life. And I know that lahat tayo parang may mga ilan sa atin nagsasawa na nasusuya na parati na lang natin sila nakikita nasa concert, ganyan. But it allows them as well, to enjoy the remaining days of their reign, because once this is done, all the focus is going to be on the new queens. And I think with with the special treatment with the candidates this year, na meron silang special screening with the Marvel na movie with Ant-Man and the Quantum Mania. And then they also had other, activities na, albeit it was very quiet on social media. You know that halos everyday meron silang activity, meron silang ginagawa. So it allows, the candidates to experience how it is to be a Binibining Pilipinas candidate, and experience, the non-competitive part as early on, so that when it comes to the part where they need to be very competitive na, at least sa umpisa pa lang, nakapag-enjoy na sila doon sa experience with Binibining Pilipinas. And later on, they will be expanding these, activities with more tawag ito, more public appearances, whether it's visiting the art island, or visiting other museums. I think they've already done the museum in Gateway, the scening na aspect sa Gateway, and they've experienced explanation on the different murals and artworks. So kumbaga parang na-enrich yung appreciation nila doon sa kultura ng Pilipinas through these paintings, as well as they get to enjoy the fun and light parts of being a Binibining Pilipinas candidate. And then the third focus that I would want to give emphasis on is the fact that Binibining Pilipinas is hell-bent on partnering with local Filipino brands in order to, to showcase Filipino talent. And I think maraming pagbabago ang mangyayari this year when it comes to that aspect. I am hoping though that, hindi na natin makita si Shane, kasi Shane is one of the most unsustainable na fashion brands in the world, and they are very much problematic with the way that they are allegedly pirating designs, stealing designs from small budding na mga designers all over the world. And I think, having that very gray, ambiguous na morals and ethics on the business side is something that the Binibining Pilipinas brand should be very aware of. I know that ultimately this is something that would help financially long term, but I think more than that, it's aligning your morals, your values, your personality with the kind of person or organization that you want to be later on. Now, partnerships. These are partnerships with established na mga local labels, help them become more visible. Much like how the partnership of Binibining Pilipinas with Jojo Baragais allowed Jojo to explode in the international scene and is now providing footwear for the Miss Universe brand. This is the same thing that I think Binibining Pilipinas is going to do moving forward. They started last year with Dia Ali, where the swimwear provider is locally is homegrown, and then allowing the owner of the Dia Ali label to style the binibinis throughout the entire Binibining Pilipinas competition. Justin Aliman was able to show, that you can also be modern, but at the same time still stay true to the entertainment, to the glam that is needed in pageantry. So those are things na I am hoping to be able to see, expand and expound more in this year in Binibining Pilipinas, because we have a lot of promising designers, young designers, and I think in order for an organization as old and as traditional and as established as Binibining Pilipinas, to be relevant, to keep relevant, is to keep adding young blood and keep adding social relevance in the way that it deals with these business entities. Showcase yung mga budding na mga talents in the fashion and retail industries in order for the Binibining Pilipinas become a melting pot of Filipino talent, not only on designers dressing up the wonderful 40 na mga candidates ng Binibining Pilipinas, but also explore pa yung mga local brands natin dito sa Pilipinas that needs exposure so that they can explode into the market. Para maintindihan natin na hindi lang bench and pen shop yung mga local brands natin dito sa Pilipinas, that we have other local designers, local brands that needs help in terms of visibility and reach. And I think Binibining Pilipinas is the perfect platform to do that. Kaya nilang gawin ito because they have the capacity, they have the manpower, they have the tools to do so. And the mere fact that after Binibining Pilipinas, we can see some of the Binibining Pilipinas candidates this year score mga endorsement deals. Malaking bagay yon sa mga candidates, and if they are able to do that for candidates, I'm sure kayang-kaya nilang gawin yan dun sa mga Filipino brands na meron tayo. Now, I know that this live stream will not be complete without some of you asking about franchise. And I've said this before. Franchise is not something that the Binibining Pilipinas is focusing their energies on. I am sure that meron na silang nakahanay, meron na silang mga franchise partners na kinakausap, na fina-finalize yung mga pag-uusap na ito. But ultimately, I don't think that it's franchise chasing is their end goal for this year. I think it's more than that, because next year is going to be their 60th anniversary, and this year is going to be just a dress rehearsal of what explosive things that they have in store for us next year. I know that this is not something that a lot of you want to hear, na gusto natin na sana mas marami pang mga franchises na meron sa Binibining Pilipinas. I am with you on that. I understand your perspective. I understand where you're coming from because ako din naman mismo, I want that hindi lang dalawa o tatlo yung titles na ibibigay ng Binibining Pilipinas this year. But whatever titles that they are going to acquire, I am 100% sure that they're not gonna be rushing their decisions for that just because kinakailangan nilang makapuno ng quota sa franchise. Remember what I said about don't chase, get chosen. And this is the same thing why there are rumors na some of their past franchisees um, are communicating back with them with regards to, returning yung mga franchises na ito sa Binibining Pilipinas. And um, I'm, I'm just gonna read my note on that kasi ayoko magkamali doon sa wording ko. Two former franchises allegedly wanted to return to Binibining Pilipinas, but their new rules and their demands could potentially hurt the Binibining Pilipinas name in the long run. And therefore, mas pinipili ng Binibining Pilipinas to take care of their brand name because that is something that they have that is uniquely their own. Unlike, for example, if they made, they make concessions just so that they can acquire the Miss Universe na franchise, they would have to change their eligibility rules. They would have to remove yung mga titles that they have long established relationship with. And that is not something that is of good moral standing sa Binibining Pilipinas. We have to remember the Aranetas, they are a long, they are a strict Filipino Spanish na family, and they value relationships that much kasi um, hindi naman nila ilalaglag yung mga long-term business partners nila kung wala namang silang dahilan to do so. And I think kapag yung mga franchises na umalis ng walang maayos na paalam, they're not gonna just welcome back with open arms. I'm sure na aalis-alis kayo tapos ngayon gusto niyong bumalik. Gusto niyo na pagbigyan namin kayo sa lahat ng mga gusto niyo. And this is not something na would be, would be for an organization that has value. This is not something that you would do. Na if other people or other organization don't see the value in you while you are in a, a partnership with them, tapos nilayasan ka at babalik sa'yo, parang malaking sampal naman din sa'yo na sila na nga yung sila na nga yung umalis sa'yo, sila pa ngayon yung may apog na mag-demand na ganitong gusto kong mangyari sa pageant ah, na na hinahawakan mo. I don't think that is a good, reflection of a healthy relationship with these international organizations. And Binibining Pilipinas, knowing its worth, knowing that they are able to survive, losing franchises, I think that they know their worth, and they're not gonna throw away yung self-respect nila just for, a number of franchises. Um, I I have heard rumors that they love the Binibining Pilipinas brand, that they're not gonna throw away yung brand name ng Binibining Pilipinas just so that they can accommodate the whims of international pageants. You have to understand na ang Binibining Pilipinas, much like this, these international franchises, have a long history. They are, in as much as Miss Universe is a legacy brand, that is the same with Binibining Pilipinas. And isipin mo if a legacy brand kowtows to an organization that, let's say, like Miss Supranational na organization, and bow down to the higher demands ng Supra na hindi man lang commensurate um, doon sa relationship na yon. I don't think that that would be a good, a good long-term na relationship. It needs to be beneficial to both partners. It cannot be that one partner gets all the wins and leave scraps to the local business partners. And that is also the reason why, despite my approval of the changes of Kun An for Miss for the Miss Universe organization, I am not particularly agreeing upon doon sa sinabi niya that the local organizations need to get my approval if they want to take on um, other international pageants, because not all markets, pageant markets, are the same as the Philippines or Venezuela or Colombia or any Asian and Latin American crazed country. There are organizations that are struggling to survive. There are organizations that the only way for them to be financially viable is to have as many franchises, so that local girls would be, would para maengganyo yung mga local girls na sumali sa mga contest na yon at magkaroon ng mas maraming sponsorships and partnerships with local businesses. I think that is something that Kun An is missing, that not all pageant markets are the same as the Philippines or Thailand or Vietnam or Venezuela or Colombia or Puerto Rico or any other Latin market like Mexico. She needs to understand that each market is unique, and therefore there cannot be a one size fits all for every pageant market. In as much that I admire the way that she is being bold with the Miss Universe organization, I do not agree doon sa pronouncement niya that kinakailangan may approval siya doon sa mga international franchises na hinahandle at kukunin ng mga national na organizations. Because, una sa lahat, um, hindi naman siya ang nagfa-finance dito sa mga national organizations na ito. I don't think that she would be open to help, finance these smaller na mga national pageants. I remember when I was researching for a topic to teach in one of my in one of my subjects, and I was looking at the business model of Chanel's Parafection. Chanel, during the 1980s up until the 1990s and up until now, started to buy out or to purchase smaller masons, smaller ateliers that specializes on, let's say, embroidery and beadwork, on feather work, on shoemaking, on bag making, on printing, ganyan. And what Chanel wants was to accumulate as much of these smaller na mga masons and ateliers, so that yung mga technical and creative abilities ng mga smaller masons na ito mabuhay long term. And what they did was, bibigyan namin kayo ng funding, but at the same time, towards a certain deadline, you should be self-sustaining and you should be able to start making money on your own. But but Chanel Parafection, the company that handles these smaller na mga masons, these specialized ateliers, they do not just, oh sige, we need more money from you because we purchased you, so start working. And hindi ganun yung ginawa nila. They financially help them first before demanding returns. And I think that is something that Kun An should understand with, with the way that she's doing business, especially with different markets. Hindi hindi sa hindi ko ano hindi sa hindi ko nirerespeto yung what she's doing for the organization. It takes guts to do to make bold changes, like she does, but she needs to also understand that different markets have different needs, requirements, different customer base. So she needs to understand that a one size fits all approach to managing this local business partners would not necessarily be successful to all markets. So yun yung gusto kong sana na maintindihan niya, because there are things that cannot just be easily dictated. Uh, Especially dito sa franchise bidding war na ito. And looking at what I've heard na mga rumors that in as much as BPCI wants, to get back these, mga pariwarang mga franchises na to, may respeto din naman sila sa sarili nila na hindi naman ganun kadali na, o sige kung anong gusto niyo, sige gagawin namin. Hindi naman pwedeng gano'n. They are also protecting their own brand. In as much as Kun An or Gerard is protecting supranational, the supranational brand, and Kun An is protecting the Miss Universe brand. I think the people at BPCI also are trying to make sure that even if kumuha sila ng mga bumalik sa kanila yung mga international brands na ito, kinakailangan din na protektahan din nila yung local brand nila, kasi hindi naman guarantee na itong mga pageant franchises na ito may loyalty. Kung nagawa nga nilang layasan ng Binibining Pilipinas, for sure, kaya din nilang lumayas ulit kapag nakakita sila ng opportunity na magbibigay sa kanilang mas malaking, franchise fee, for example. Or magbibigay sa kanila ng VIP treatment kapag dumalaw sila dito sa bansa, at presidential suite ng mga 4-star, 5-star hotels lang sila dapat i-book. So those are things na kinakailangan din naman na maintindihan ng mga fans, na hindi lang ganun kadali na tanggap ka na lang ng tanggap ng mga franchise. There are agreements there na if it goes against the grain of your morals or your ethics, or it goes against the long-term viability of your brand, kinakailangan magdalawang isip ka din, kasi hindi naman pwede na kung ano lang yung gusto ng mga international franchise na to, umuo ka na lang ng umuo. Because ultimately, I think, mawala man yung mga Miss Supranational Philippines, Miss Universe Philippines na mga brand dito, mananatili pa din yung brand name ng Binibining Pilipinas na pageant. And I think that is something that we should all appreciate, because ultimately naman kasi, it's not about just, these franchises, but it's about the long-term viability of our own institutions here, na hindi tayo pwedeng parati na lang dinidiktahan ng mga international organizations na ito, na hindi tayo pwedeng humindi. There are demands that sometimes would kill us, or kill our own, local franchises, dahil hindi ganun kadali kung lumikom ng pera. So those are things that I think a lot of fans tend to neglect because of this franchise war. So it's important na maintindihan natin why, these franchise na bidding, it's not something that the Binibining Pilipinas organization would likely to play. If they put on an offer na gusto ninyong bumalik, what's your offer? Magbibigay sila ng figure, magbibigay sila ng possible na ito yung kaya naming ibigay, the ball is in your court, are you amenable to it? Kung hindi kayo amenable, let's make concessions. Hindi pwedeng uh, it's all in the favor of the international organization. It needs to be equally a win-win situation for both local and national na or pageant organizations. So there. With regards to other additional rumors that I've heard so far, um, remember last year in an interview with Nicole Borromeo and Binibining Pilipinas Intercontinental Gabby Basiano, I mentioned that I've been hearing insistent rumors since 2021 that uh, there is a possibility of bringing Miss International here in Manila. And up until now, that is something that I am still hearing from certain quarters. So let's see. Kasi I've heard, during a dinner with some of my amigas, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Napag-usapan that there's a possibility of the reigning Miss International Jasmine Selbert to come here in Manila. So let's see how does that pan out later on. Now, another thing that I've heard with regards to Binibining Pilipinas this year is that there's a new production partner to team up for the finals. This new production partner is said to be the rumored to be the same people who did the press presentation last year at Novotel. And you will remember this stage because sila yung nangahas na lagyan ng LED na floor yung stage ng press presentation that flashes the candidate official swimwear na tawag nito na portraits. So let's see what they have in store for Binibining Pilipinas this year kung matuloy na sila yung magpo-produce ng finals because I am hoping that finally they would be able to manage a stage where mapagbigyan tayo ng mga fans na bigyan tayo ng long runway. Ano pa ba yung mga let me see my notes kasi I have like full notes again with you with regards to ano yung mga nagiging kong mga chismis. Okay, so with regards to the candidate activities, a lot of them will start at around March this year. I've heard that the official public events would start at around second week of March. So abangan natin kasi mag-uumpisa na silang mag-ingay by then. I think at this point they're just still doing mga fun activities for the girls, but come March, unti-unti na nating makikita yung mga girls, malalaman yung ano yung mga sino sila as candidates because we will be knowing more about them in the Binibining Pilipinas website a little bit later. I've also heard na na like last year na 5 or rather 6 yung glam shot pictorials nila. It is most likely that this year they will the 40 candidates would have around 6 or 7 din na pictorials for Binibining Pilipinas this year, and that would include their t-shirt na glam shot. Magkakaroon sila ng swimwear and evening gown na portraits. Magkakaroon din sila ng headshots and 2 or 3 na shoots that will coincide for the souvenir program. And possibly even a separate shoot na magiging na isasama doon sa judges binder later on. So with Binibining Pilipinas, making sure that the candidate experience is something na they're building upon. I think that mag-e-enjoy yung mga candidates this year. At hindi sila magsisisi na sumali sila ng Binibining Pilipinas. Ayan. So I think we're about okay. One last thing pala, book your dates because from what I've heard, the finals for Binibining Pilipinas this year would happen around second week or third week ng May. what we've been discussing doon sa mga pageant friends ko that I met yesterday was that the finals is more likely to happen around May 14. Although I've heard na isa sa mga dates na naging pinag-usapan was May 28. So let's just wait for final word on that. But as of now, I think maganda na i-ano natin, i-bookmark natin yung mga dates na yon dahil it is most likely that the finals pageant is going to happen on a Sunday. Okay? And then, I'm sure you're going to ask about Miss Universe Philippines na finals. I have no idea kung ano yung exact date, but just book your weekends, your Saturdays and Sundays free. Most likely, the finals is going to be in April, maybe around third week or fourth week of April. So yun, mauuna ang MUP ng kanilang finals and susunod ang Binibining Pilipinas maybe a week or 3 weeks after. Okay, so now let's look at yung ating mga comments. Let's try, I will try to read as much as I can in this live stream. I want to end our live stream at the 1 hour and 30 minute na mark para ma-condense naman yung ating live stream ngayon. Okay, JUP, Sir Jess, good evening. I just want to commend your constructive criticism as you always provide possible solutions. Same with Tita L. We appreciate your work. Thank you. I think nakakataba ng puso yung mga ganitong mga comments from you guys because it also validates the fact that yung effort na nilalagay namin, the efforts that we do in order for people to appreciate, understand, and have a bigger perspective on the things that we're discussing on our live streams or on our videos, it's something that you are able to digest and be informed with. So I think having a very informative na way of discussing things ultimately helps the entire community, the entire pageant community to understand and appreciate much better. Now, Becky Lou Blanco, kind of greedy nga, pero passable naman. Thank you Becky Lou. I'm not sure if it's my camera or dahil sa lighting, kaya mas naging grainy siya. Although grainy naman talaga yung tawag ito, yung quality ng video, but I kind of feel that it's kind of more grainy ngayon. Okay? Ayun, Ben Hernandez is saying, Sir Jay, check the white balance kasi parang basag po yung liwanag. Okay. I don't know how to do that. Maybe this. I'm not sure. Okay. I don't know. I'm just nagpipindot-pindot lang ako ng mga ano dito, ng mga tawag ito, ng mga settings here. I'm hoping that this would be much better. But pasensya na. Maybe it has something to do with the internet as well. Okay. Let's tingin pa tayo ng mga comments because there's a lot of comments pala na I have missed. Okay. Sweet. Where are the comments? There. I think we're finished with the comment from Ben. Here we have a comment from Daniel P. Yuson Jr. Thank you, Daniel. Ikaw isa sa pinakamaagang ngayong araw na to. You don't have to be loud. You just have to do something relevant, Sir. Thank you for quoting me on that. Parang feeling ko marami akong quotable quotes ngayong araw na to. I think that's because nakalaklak ako na sa damakmak na kati ngayong araw na to. So medyo hyperactive ang utak ko ngayon. Sabi ni Ben, did you buy that BBB online or sa Araneta City mismo, dun sa mismong Coliseum during the finals? Lemuel, Lemon 2035. I noticed Luis Portelas is with you, media folks, most of the time. Is this a sign of Luis permanently here in the future as a pageant vlogger? Hehehe. We're actually um, we're actually actively recruiting him to stay permanently na lang here in the Philippines kasi it's more fun here in the Philippines, and I think he knows that. I think he appreciates that. Line spread. Your bets in BBP and MUPH. Line spread, ayoko munang maglabas ng listahan because I haven't seen or I haven't researched on all 40 girls on BBP and 40 girls on MUP. I know the front runners. I know the popular girls. But in order for us to have a better assessment on the entire girls, gusto ko munang malaman yung profile ng mga candidates. And I think mas maganda na makita muna natin lahat yung kanilang profile, understand who these girls are, what are the things that they stand for, what are their advocacies, what are their educational background before we make a list on favorites. But right now, because I have prior experience, I've met and engaged with some of the girls doon sa Binibining Pilipinas na roster. I am looking at Zaya, I am looking at Kiara, I am looking at Gianna, Miriam, oh my God, I'm looking at Doctora Sandy, and these are just some of the girls na top of my head when I'm looking at their at their resume. Like Zaya is an entrepreneur, she's a coffee shop owner in, oh my God, what province? I think Tarlac. And then you have Kiara, who is a lawyer, who also has her master's degree in law. Then you have Gianna, who is a granddaughter of a former president of the Philippines, who is also a host, who speaks well. Tapos you have Miriam, who is bitten by the travel bug, who has one of the best body proportions in Binibining Pilipinas this year. And you have a medical doctor, a graduate of medicine. It's actually spelled Candy, but it's apparently it's pronounced as Sandy Vollinger. So, and I also want to know more about Sofia Galvez, about Angelica Lopez, about Katrina Johnson, and a host of other girls na um, tingin ko are overlooked because they're not popular. But once you get to know these girls, uh, you will be wowed by their ability to speak, by their facial beauty, by their achievements in life. And I think it's too early to tell favorites at this point in time. So sana we're all in this journey where we get to know more about the girls rather than judge what we see on photos and then that's it. Hindi na natin aalamin yung background ng mga girls. Although it's also important that kinakailangan physically beautiful yung mga girls. I think this is still ultimately a beauty pageant, so kinakailangan din na wag nating tanggalin yung beauty equation sa tawag dito sa pageantry kasi hindi porke sige wala nang height requirements ang binibini at ang MUPH, pero hindi naman pwedeng sino-sino na lang yung pwedeng tawag nito, pwedeng sumali. I mean, you still have to have a certain, criteria para hindi naman masyadong free for all yung mangyari sa applications and sa mangyari sa, sa mga candidates. You still need to have like quality control. You still need to incorporate, and be mindful that this is still at the end of the day a beauty pageant. So there. Paulo de la Cruz, sabi niya, Cosmo daw ang new crowd. Nandun si Meiji during screening. I am not sure kasi right now from what I know, Tito Rogel is the one who handles or owns the Miss Cosmo World na ano na tawag nito na franchise. So there. I don't know kung is there a change in franchise. So tignan natin. Um, Lutong Pinoy at iba pa. Sabi niya, present daw siya. Ayan. Uh, Romano Empire, backtrack ka na lang doon sa mga ano, doon sa mga previous na nabanggit ko with regards to new titles. Okay? I think I've discussed that in even previous na mga live stream. So, paulit-ulit ko na lang na sinasagot yung tanong na yan. So, perhaps I would put the responsibility to you guys to look up mga previous live streams ko dahil nasagot ko na yung tanong na yan. There we have Rodvin Fiel. Good evening, sir. Pa-attendance po, present sa class, late lang. Hello, Rodvin. Thank you very much for joining our live stream today. Ayan. Sana yung mga ating mga comments. Sorry about that. Medyo mahina yung aking okay, the Supra Channel, standalone pageants naman ang may bidding, hindi talaga sasali ang BBP kasi ayaw nilang mag-stand alone. Lemol 23.5 saying, Sir Jaswan, Miss Universe Philippines, I heard there will be a lot of major changes for this year's pageant. Looks like they are really taking notes, especially with the results that happened in NOLA. I hope they will reveal the new set of crowns for this year's BBP lineups to clarify and ease the worries of majority of the excited fans looking forward cheering for their girls. Fan is asking, may sponsor sila na local na footwear? Wala po ba conflict sa Bragayes? I don't think so. Dorothy V. Jones, I'm somewhat pleasantly surprised that Binibining Pilipinas candidates have stronger advocacies than other more advocacy-focused competitions. Yun nga, I think mas paninindigan ng Binibining Pilipinas yung charities incorporated na part ng kanilang BPCI na name. There. Jella Vlogs, hello! Ay, there. I'm sure I said that correctly. Good evening po. Sorry, late. Ayan. Akira Nicole, karma na yan sa Supra. Ha ha ha. Now, pang runner-up na sila sa kabila. Na lang sila sa kabila. Simply is saying, I agree sir, Google ang eligibility rules unless lahat ng pageants ay mag-adjust nasa X sa age at pag-allow na sa mga married na sumali. Which is also something that is very difficult to do, especially because in the Filipino context, pag sinabi mong Binibining Pilipinas, it still means miss, unmarried. Kaya nga tayo merong ginang at ginoo at binibini to segregate yung marital status ng what you call this ng mga genders, no. In as much that I find it something very appropriate, I find it it will work for Miss Universe to have unwed mothers, to have married na women to join. I don't think that it matches the energy or it matches the Binibining Pilipinas brand to have unmarried mothers and wedded women to compete in Binibini. Ultimately din kasi, we have to understand that this is a private enterprise. So each, company can pretty much dictate their rules unless, maging katulad sila ng Miss France na ina-allow na nila yung mga married mothers to join the pageant. I know that Binibining Pilipinas, the criticism of a lot of fans and a lot of people in general is that Binibining Pilipinas is slow to change. However, I also understand the fact that the reason why they have been they were able to last this long, it's because they have been very careful um, with their brand name. They have been very careful in changing too much. They have been very careful that whatever change that they do or they apply for the pageant, it is within their brand name. It is within their brand. It is within, the logic for their brand. It means that lahat ng mga pagbabago na ginagawa nila, it should be on brand at the end of the day. So, naiintindihan ko na maybe this is not something that is um, right yet for Binibining Pilipinas, but who knows? Maybe in the future, we might see, married mothers joining Binibining Pilipinas. So, anything is still possible at this point in time. Change, as they say, is good. So, tingnan natin kung how receptive later on ang BPCI to do so. In terms of changing the rules and accepting, trans women into the competition. Because I think still ultimately, it needs to be something that should be at the legal level allowed na mag-change ng sex and gender doon sa mga legal documents ng mga gustong sumali. Um, Akira, with regards to Mrs. United Continents, I think meron ng may-ari niyan. So wag nating guluhin naman yung Miss United Continents because it is still with Jesslyn Santos in her Miss United Continents Philippines organization. So wag na naman natin na tanggalan ng prangkisa yung mga smaller, lesser known na mga pageant organizations just because we want na may idagdag sa Binibining Pilipinas. As I've explained in this live stream, ultimately it needs to be something that the Binibining Pilipinas would would be a good fit for whenever they acquire or reacquire mga franchises. Justin Basco, kawawa naman ang Supra. They are in PH pageant limbo right now. I doubt Empire is a solid backer. Rumor has it that the franchise fee for both the Mr. and Miss Supra na is floating as a rumor is around 4 million. So medyo steep yung na yon, yung tawag nito, yung number na yon. I think it will balloon the expense ng Empire if they acquire this new pageant. And hindi lang yung Miss yung poproblemahin nila, pati yung Mr. I understand that they have Mercator where they can just do a casting among their models, male models there, and appoint for Mr. Supra. However, malaking investment kasi yung franchise and I'm worried, especially with rumors na they were on the red nga daw last year. So let's wait and see how the MUPH organization is going to move, because all of these rumors, all of these speculations is not doing them any good. It's actually harming their brand. So I'm hoping na within the next few weeks magkaroon na ng final na word on the Miss Supranational and Mr. Supranational na franchise, kasi kawawa naman yung mga katulad ni Emmanuel Vera na aiming talaga for the Miss Supranational na Philippines na title. Nasaan na ba tayo? FJ. Tama ba? Efa J is saying, I wonder if Miss Universe Philippines will announce winners of Miss Supranational Philippines in the finals night, as Anne did not want another title to share the stage at MUP finals. I think in one of my blog posts this Thursday lang, I think, binit ko na a way to work around that is to announce a Miss Philippines charity, Miss Philippines tourism, and then later appoint those two titles to compete in Miss Supra or in Miss Charm. But yes, tama ka, FAJ, because supranational organization might not be pleased. Paulo de la Cruz, pinakawalay yung production ng 2022 Kaloka. Okay na rin palitan ng production team nila. Simple Lurker is saying, yes, maganda yung press presentation last year. Sana sila na nga ang pumawak sa production. I admire BPI's strategy, sabi ni Dorothy V. Jones. Amidst this war of pageants, keeping its brand equity intact is an intelligent survival move. In the long term, BPCI's blessing will be more precious than any franchise fee. And I think having a Binibining Pilipinas title attached to your name, there is automatically a certain level of respect that people associate with that. Tanungin mo yung mga tao na non-pageant fan, they would still remember Binibining Pilipinas over on any other national title. They would always assume that the Miss Universe is still with Binibining Pilipinas. And I think, that is a testament to the fact that ganun na lang din kasi yung kalakas yung brand equity, ganun din kalakas yung 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 power no brand name ng Binibining Pilipinas. Nasaan na ba tayo? John Snow 79. Hi Jason. May iba lang. Parang same ang Mr. International at Miss Universe na dalawa ang winners. Tingin mo ba na nasosobrahan na si Kun-an sa exposure na parang winner na din siya? Di naman ganun dating mga owners ng Miss Universe. Kahit si Donald Trump, di naman laging kasama sa picks ng winners. Thanks. Okay, John Snow, I think what we are experiencing now is like Miss Universe fatigue, where there is just too much visibility on their end. Naiintindihan ko din that the frustration of some pageant fans that instead of seeing more of Arbony, their feeds on social media is inundated by the latest proclamations of Kun-an. I understand the frustration coming from there, because even on my end, I think that there are things that as an owner, you should just consolidate into one announcement rather than piecemeal it on a weekly basis, just so that you are being talked about on a regular basis. But I do understand then that Anne has to do that because it's a new organization, so she needs to promote the hell out of it. But I think she can only get a pass for her first year to be that visible, because if this is something that we see on the next 2 or 3 years, a lot of people, I am predicting that a lot of people will be turned off dahil EPA levels na nga masyado kung hanggang 2050 ganun pa din na siya yung parating laman ng newsfeed instead of yung winner. So let's just hope na siguro sa mga fans na katulad natin na nasosobrahan na doon sa visibility niya, matutong mag-mute sa Facebook, sa Instagram, matutong mag-unfollow para hindi naman tayo masyado parating inundated ng mga ito. Because on my end, to protect my mental health on social media, there are days that I really check out. There are days that I would just post and then ghost. And that is important for me to maintain my mental health, because if I keep on being too immersed on social media, it will not be good for my mental health, because it it is too consuming. And that is why I am also thankful that starting this semester, this year, I am much more busy with some of my out of pageant na career, because it allows me to focus on different things and have a life outside, have a life outside pageantry, because it's important that outside of pageantry, buo tayo na tao, na meron tayong pinagkakabalahan, na meron tayong sense of individual, accomplishments outside of pageantry, that we are not just too focused on pageantry, and that we define ourselves by our social media presence, or our involvement in pageantry. So it's important that we have that tanggalin man yung equation sa pageantry sa buhay mo, buo ka pa rin na tao. And I think that is something that the Miss Universe is looking for in a winner as well, that if you remove pageants, that person is still a remarkable transformational leader. So there. Jeffy, hoping din ako this year na long runway at new designs ng crown, at syempre retain Catriona and Nicole as host pa din. I think hindi mawawala si Catriona as a host. I think yung loyalty talaga niya nasa Binibining Pilipinas. JB, sabi niya, mas sanay ako sa 1-month pageant activities lang, para ang tagal na kung May ang finals. But the thing kasi is, sanay na tayo with Binibining Pilipinas with that kind of, lengthy na pageant preparation, because pagdating ng international competition, itong mga binibini natin, pwedeng manihim na lang yung international competition eh. And I think this is something that, that Maureen Montaigne, in one of our interviews with her, mentioned that ang Binibining Pilipinas parang international competition na din, in terms of its intensity. And sometimes nga, mas mahirap pa nga daw ang Binibining Pilipinas, as compared to other international competitions, which I kind of agree. So, yun nga, maybe it's, for some people, it's too much, but for the candidates, it allows, growth within the 40 candidates, kasi unti-unting lumalabas yung capability ng mga girls, the longer that they are exposed sa competition, and Binibining Pilipinas is a marathon, as I've been saying over and over again in the past years, and you really need to have the physical, the mental, psychological goods to to thrive in this pageant. Kasi it is grueling talaga. Jella Vlogs, hello po, sabi ni Jella. Hello din, Jella. Good evening sa'yo. Mike Earl Kilay ko, nagtatanong, may chika po ba sa bagong crowns ng BPC? I've answered this question, backtrack ka na lang. John C, hello Kuya Jason. I like how you showcase what to expect sa Binibining Pilipinas. I hope makakuha pa sila ng other titles para talagang balik ulit ang ningning nila. Thank you. Good topic to. Again, I think they're going to be having like 3 titles based on what I've heard. So, malay natin, as we move closer to May, maging 4 na. Diba? Oriental Josa Sahara, good evening. Nakahabol pa. I'll just replay this again. Thank you, Oriental Josa. Thank you for the support. We have Ramos Feliz, hoping for additional crowns for BVP because they have so many quality and high caliber girls this class of Binibining Pilipinas. Okay, Jonathan Perez, hello, good morning from Canada. You're the only blogger I watch intensely as you all equipped with facts and sense. Thank you, Jonathan. I hope hindi masyado maginaw diyan sa Canada ngayon. Or I think it's approaching winter, so I hope na you're warm and cozy. P. Javi, sabi niya, I'm watching from California, USA. Will there be new titles? They say that it's going to be 3 titles this year. Who knows? Maybe it will become 4 closer to May. Um, Sabi ni, okay, dagdag ni Jonathan Perez. I really like your analysis in pageantry. I'm your new and avid follower. Watching from Canada, you're knowledgeable and well-versed in the field. Jello Vlogs, may alam ako sa French fries feast ng Mr. and Miss Supra. Ha 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 ha. Kaloka ka, Jella. Sige, message mo sa akin. Um, what is the exact figure? I'm also looking at, what is the exact figure that we're talking about when it comes to the Supra na franchise, because I doubt, I don't think that the Mr. Supra has the same value as the Miss Supra na pageant as a whole, because if I'm going to look at the Mr. and Miss Supra, I think the Miss Supra should be slightly higher, and the Mr. Supra should slightly be lower in terms of franchise value. But then again, that's just me. Nasaan na tayo? JB, so sino kukuha ng 4M franchise ng Supra? Well, kaya naman pala binitawan ni ALD kasi mas mataas pa daw ang fee ng Supra sa mas kilalang pageant. Okay. Yari, NCDB, hindi na nag-renew si ALV dahil nagtaas ng franchise fee ang Supra. Okay. Where are we? Nasaan na ba tayo? Jeffy, Sir Jason, if ever bumalik ang Supra sa Binibini in the future, do you think Arnetta should invest in male pageantry and acquire Mr. Supra and Mr. International? No, I don't think so. Before, meron tayong Mr. World Philippines under Binibining Pilipinas, but I think mas maganda that they focus on the female na pageants. Sa ngayon kasi medyo magulo pa yung male pageantry, and you've known this with the recent na 2 organizations battling out on who actually has the ownership of the Mr. International na organization. On one hand, you have Attorney Manuel Del Dio saying that he was appointed as vice president of the Mr. International organization way before the new organization headed by Pradit Pradinot and Korea and some Korean and Filipino partners established themselves as as the owners of the Mr. International na pageant. Problem is I've seen yung I've seen yung wisdom on both on both and reasoning and logic on both na organizations. So now I'm hoping and to look at the legality of ownership, kasi it doesn't matter who is more logical na nagmamay-ari based on hearsay on whatever. Importante na at this point in time, ang tignan natin is who has the right papers to show ownership, na hindi yung kagustuhan nung namatay na may-ari na dapat mapunta sa ganito yung organization. Pero kung may kasulatan na nagsasabi na the rightful owner is this entity or that entity, I think that should bear more weight. That should bear more gravitas in determining who actually owns the pageant. Kaya at this point in time, I cannot say that the organization headed by Pradit Pradinot is the hoax organization. The same vein that I will not say that the organization headed by Attorney Manuel Del Dio is the fake one. I think kapag may naglabas na ng papeles naglabas ng papeles on both sides, dun pa lang ako magkakaroon ng understanding and ng trust on who really owns the organization, because hostile takeovers in male pageantry is so I don't know, it demeans the brand. Nakakawalan ng respeto or nakakawalan ng glamour yung dalawang magkaibang organization at nag-aaway. So, hash it out in court, matira matibay kung sino ang may papeles, then siya ang may legal ownership. So, I hope, this is settled as soon as possible. But right now, um, I am looking at, Lukanan and Manu as co-winners. But based on my experience talaga, during when I was covering, the Miss International Finals dito sa New Frontier Theater, the one that really performed spectacularly on all, on all levels, on all aspects of the competition is India. And I was shocked na runner-up lang siya because during the finals, I was looking at India's possible winner, followed by Spain and Hong Kong, and then siguro close fourth would be MJ Ordiliano of the Philippines. Mano Franco for me was surprise na winner. And I don't know. Maybe may nakita yung mga tao sa kanya na hindi ko nakitaan. But since he was crowned that night, I am now just hoping that kung sino man yung may proof of ownership, legal proof of ownership, sa kanya mapunta yung tawag ito, sa kanya mapunta yung organization talaga. So where are we? Nasaan na ba tayo? Charlie Santiago, sabi niya, it will be better to be talked about on good things and not the bad things. Parang nag-MGI levels na ang MU ngayon. I wonder if people will take them seriously in the long run. Ifa J, international pageants attachment to Binibining Pilipinas will be enough to raise their brand in the Philippines. I agree. MGI, Intercon, Globe, and Supra were not even popular before being part of the Binibining Pilipinas. Yes, and that is, the power of the Binibining Pilipinas brand. So, I think ultimately people will attach respect and and admiration to the Binibining Pilipinas brand simply because of yung history and brand equity that is associated with their brand. Nasaan na ba tayo? JB, maiba lang, 13 years na palang standalone ng Miss World Philippines, no? Sana magka-reunion naman sila sa MWPH Finals, pero iba pa rin talaga ang core Carino Girls from 2011 to 2016. There. Brown Dude 999. Aloha from Hawaii. I think MUPH should change the criteria scores to be aligned with MUO criteria, as in 50% score from interview, etc. Otherwise, we might send the wrong candidate. I kind of agree with that. So that the reflection of what the international organization is seen on the local national organization, so it's a reflective of their criteria with the same level at the locals. Jonathan Perez, it's minus 30 degrees, insanely cold, okay, wag kalimutan na naka-turn on lagi ang heater kung ganon, Jonathan. Unanary, hi Sir Jason, I miss your analysis of evening gowns. Honestly, I think nakakaumay na yung ganung content. I think pabayaan ko na yung mga bagitong mga pageant vloggers na maglista ng mga natitipuhan nilang mga national costumes, evening gowns. I think I would do that for national costumes because I think national costumes is still part of our culture, or the culture of the of the different countries. Sa evening gowns kasi parang I don't know. It's just that when it comes to fashion, I don't think that pageants are at the same level of modernity as what we see on the runway. Kaya yung mga nakikita ko sa pageants, it's very very apt for pageants kasi iisa lang yung silhouette ng nakikita mong klase ng gown sa pageants. Unlike in fashion, you have different silhouettes. You have different different executions of different shapes sa pagdisenyo, unlike in pageants na hapit sa katawan, yun lang naman yung yun lang naman yung silhouette na uso sa sa pageantry eh. Tapos ngayon kung nakikita niyo lahat sila may slit. Lahat sila nude ang base with beadwork. So on my end, especially from someone who teaches fashion, that's not as appealing to me as before. So, unless siguro na magkaroon tayo ng gown na parang katulad ng lava gown or ng sinag gown ni Catriona na may kwento, baka doon ako mas ma-involve ulit there. I think it's just that I've lost the not the love but the interest lang siguro, because when you are involved in the world of fashion, you know that the silhouettes, the colors that you are seeing in pageantry are colors from the last year, the last 24 months na nakita mo na. Right now, I am past looking at Viva Magenta actually as the color of the year because I am already thinking of the color for 2024, which is Apricot Crush, and that is for me an interesting color to take into come national 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 pageant season next year. So ganun ka-advance kasi yung yung trends na tipong 6 to 12 months to 24 months from now meron nang nakahilera na these are the things that you should be doing for your fashion collections for 2024, 2025. So there. And this is also the same thing that I've been doing in fashion when I was designing for pen shop, for folded and hung, that I essentially live 6 months in advance because I've already am looking at the fashion trends for the months of September, October, November by the month of March. Ganun ka-advance yung fashion. That's why yung mga nakikita ko ng mga gowns sa pageant, parang I've seen that before. I want something new. I want something different. Nasaan na tayo? Dorothy V. Jones, I'm saying that in the long run, Binibini will have stronger affinity with and attraction to more advocacy focused pageants. These don't have to be big, prestigious competitions. I agree. March, good luck sa Binibini. Hoping someday Miss Earth Philippines makukuha ng Binibining Pilipinas. I know that there is no chance, but still hoping. DJ Songera, sorry po, first time here. Wala na po ba talagang dadagdag na crowns sa BBP? They say that this is still 3 crowns and who knows, again, baka magkaroon ng ika-4th na crown if negotiations will be successful. So, yon. For those who are going to ask about new crowns, I really do suggest backtrack na lang po kasi it's the same question that I've been answering for the past 3 or 4 na lives natin. So, nagiging repetitive na. Nasaan na tayo? Okay, it's close to, it's close to an hour and 40 minutes for our live stream. So, I'm just gonna skim through other comments and close our live stream session soon. Jonathan Perez is asking, is there a way to shorten Miss World Philippines pageant down to at least 2 hours or less, or like MU format? It's just too long. I am not sure if I'm the right person to, to answer that because I have no idea how they plan their pageants. Kasi any pageant that is like 3 hours long, that's the max for me. So, unless I am covering live where, pwede akong kumuha ng snacks, ganyan, pwede akong bumili ng pagkain, bumili ng, mag-move around the Coliseum, then I wouldn't mind. But for something na 5 hours, I don't think kaya ng stamina ko yun. Raymond Juan, di ba may rumors po dati na gustong i-acquire ng BPCI ang MPE franchise way back 2020? Yes, I've heard about that. I've also seen, some communication na parang nag-reach out ang Miss Earth organization sa Binibining Pilipinas. I'm not sure if that email that I saw is nag-move forward or not, but I think for MPE mas mabuting standalone pageant na lang sila because it would be difficult to um, because Miss Earth and Miss Philippines Earth is a very niche na na market. It's best that hayaan na lang sila alone. AJ Baay, late na naman. Good evening to all. Good evening, Sir Jason. Good evening, AJ. Saan na ba tayo? Browndo 999. We hear about MUO making changes to make them more profitable because Anne is business-minded. But how can a transformational leader, Miss Universe, make them more profitable than an IMG Miss U? I don't know kung paano magiging profitable ang Miss U based on what they're looking now. However, I am hoping that the 8 or 9 income streams that Kun An mentioned during a press con last year is something that she can push through, something that she will be able to to nurture and make money from. Because I think it's very difficult to rely only sa franchise ng pageant ng Miss U for revenues. Saldi Salen, parang imposible malipat sa BPCI ang MPE. Ang may-ari ng MPE at MEI ay isa, Carsol Productions. Parang Miss USA is to Miss Universe. Okay, so there. Thank you guys for joining our live stream tonight. I know that medyo mahaba yung explanation ko. I think it took me like an hour to explain all the things that I wanted to say with regards to the main focus of Binibining Pilipinas this year. But if I am going to, if I'm going to, to leave you with something something for tonight's live stream, ito yon. It's what I've written with regards to the phrase don't chase, get chosen. And the caption that I've written on that post says you get chosen by putting in the work, not by chasing attention. Don't stop until you get to what you're worth. Keep working. International pageants, or rather, international pageant franchises are a dime a dozen. Pageants are even more so. Attract the good stuff. Attract the good stuff with good work ethic. Give something that has value over fluff that is only temporary. This is what we have in common with Binibining Pilipinas. They don't chase pageant franchises. We don't chase followers. We invite people to partake with what we have to offer by putting forth something of value. When you stop chasing the wrong people, the wrong things for the wrong reasons, the right people, the right opportunities, the right things find you. So, if I'm going to wrap everything up with this live stream, is that you don't have to join the bidding war to have relevance. You don't have to, be involved day in, day out in social media, to have peace of mind. Know your worth. know what are the things that you should be focusing on. Focus on creating value. And I think that is what Binibining Pilipinas essentially is doing for their pageant this year. And I think that is a smart move because rather than focus their energies on something that they cannot control the outcome with, they are focusing on building, good experiences for the candidates. They are focusing their attention to advocacy work that would enrich the lives of the communities that is being touched by the Binibining Pilipinas candidates and the organization. It is by fostering, you know, um, new relationships and forging these relationships to strengthen over time, to make sure that Filipino brands that warrant attention are being given attention to. So ultimately, I think what Binibining Pilipinas and what we should all do is focus on the things that give value, not only to us, but to the people around us. And I think that is the reason why whenever I do a live stream, I always stick to a certain topic or a certain flow of thought, so that it's not only me who gets enriched by what I'm talking about, but also the community, the pageant community. Because for me, my ultimate goal here is that to have a community that is a thinking community, a community that despite having different perspective on pageantry, we all agree that um, we are engaged, that we engage intelligently, that we we battle wits, but ultimately we provide value to the community as a whole. So I hope that in the long run, I am able to foster this kind of community with you guys. I hope that whether it's in Facebook, on Instagram, on or here on YouTube, you are able to to help me build that kind of community together. So there. I hope everyone has a great evening. Enjoy your weekend, and I hope to see you soon in our next live live stream and pageant coverage. So thank you guys for following me here on my social media, and for liking and subscribing here on our YouTube channel. I really appreciate your support. Thank you very much for the trust that you give to me every week na nandito kayo sa aking live stream. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you again soon. Have a great evening, and have a great day to everyone in the world. Bye and take care. See you again soon.